Do not do this, or you might end up like this. Just watch.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
I'm not going to ask you how are you because you're going to say not too good.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
Just want her to be public exposed so she don't do that again to other people.
What is the name of the she?
Eva Lalanto Husay.
Eva Husay.
Yeah.
She was your girlfriend, ex.
Yeah, but yeah, you could say that. That's what she told me. But she was married, so you can't be a girlfriend and married to another.
How did you come to know her?
Through a dating site almost 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Almost 5 years ago.
So she didn't tell you that she is already married?
No, she told me she was single and had one daughter.
And then after that, she invited you to visit?
No, not invited. I came here to meet her a couple of times.
And you were supposed to marry her?
I wanted to do that, yes. But
when did you find out that she is already married?
last week.
Only last week.
And that is, she had 2 kids also.
Were you able to talk to her husband because
Yeah, he contacted me. Yeah.
she been asking money from you?
I gave her money because she said she quit her work, so I supported her and paid
You supported her
Yeah.
for how long?
1.5 years.
1.5 years. How much money are we talking about? The money that you already
All the
paid?
money, all the amount is 292K.
Or you might even end up like this. Watch again.
The problem that I can see is the name of the property
Yeah,
is under her name. The cars.
I cannot buy on my name.
Do you have a side contract with Alma Levino that
Contract na dahil.
No,
With that
because she buy it when just after I go home.
But-
She's very clever.
right?
She
But okay. One more question. But do you have proof to show that you've been sending money to her
Yes,
for the
I
construction of
have
that
all.
property?
Yes, yes.
And there was an agreement that the money
Yes.
you're sending him
Yeah.
was for that property, for the construction of the
Yes.
Dami
property.
pong
That I
transaction
have.
po na pinakita niyo.
I think we
have
have a
that.
fair chance
Yeah.
of winning in court if ever we're going to bring this case to court. We're going to accompany you. Both of you go to
Okay.
Bohol.
Okay.
We'll take care of the plane fare and then the hotel.
I take all my proofs with me.
Okay. Take all documents, anything that you have to show that you've been sending her money, that all the monies that was that have finance in buying that property came from you. So bring that all with you and we'll see what happens, okay?
She also cheat me. She was always sick, and then she was in hospital. She must pay much money for operation kidney stones, her throat here.
Dami siyang picture pinapakita na peke galing sa Google po.
All fake.
nasa hospital
Also,
She's a pathological liar.
also the bills, she make her own bills from the hospital, from the medicines.
How much money altogether?
It's more than 8 million.
Laking pera tong
25,
Anyway, this video today is going to be something that I don't do too much, and I don't want to get into too deep into it. But over the 5 years I've been here, I've seen some really horrendous stories, and I have a few talking points today that I'm going to give you when it comes to our foreigner friends that comes to Philippines. They meet a girl. To them, she might seem nice, and she probably is. Because let me say this before I go any further. There is millions and millions of nice Filipino women that are looking for foreigner men for a long-term relationship, marriage, or whatever. So this message is not including them in this whatsoever. However, like in every other country, there is, well, we can call them what they are. They are scammers. And that's the focus I want to put on today when it comes to your money and the relation to the girls and the lady you are seeing, whether you see her online or if you have met her, and that be the subject of this little video. One of the things I want to say first, you know, it is a lot of foreigners, and I'm a little surprised at how blue-eyed we sometimes are when it comes to that and letting go of funds and money and other things before we even really know that person. I have a recommendation to everybody. If you do not want to get taken down, you have to make sure that she is legit and the relation is completely legit. Let me tell you a little bit about my personal situation with my wife. I met her early 2013, and one of the things with her was that she never asked for money. I had previously entertained a few relations online and got cold feet or warm feet, whatever you want to call it, because almost like on the first conversation there was talk about money, and that is a warning sign right away if you're in that kind of relation. I would just say break it off and move on, because most of the good Filipinos, they even have a hard time actually to ask you for money or help or whatnot if they are looking for a serious relation. And let's talk a little bit more about sending money. I've learned one thing, that in most cases, if they're asking for money and they are scammers, they are not asking for money for themselves. They're asking money for their auntie, their mother, their father, in the hospital bills, and other things. So if you hear that, be very observant on those kind of issues, because that might be a warning sign for you to be a little careful how you spend your money. One of the examples in the opening, in that instance, and I'm not revealing names or anything, however, I will put a link down in the description to a couple of Raffy Tulfo's videos. They're very good. Raffy has been helping people that actually has gotten into serious trouble, and in the first case scenario we had there, it was about 300,000 pesos, which is not, you know, a whole lot of money, roughly around $6,000. But in the second case, in the second video, it was closer to 8 million pesos. And why you would send money that way and not be sure, maybe not even have met the girl, or met her for a week here, a week there, over a short period of time, I wouldn't really recommend anybody to send any money. One thing you have to know here also, one of the instances there is money was sent for buying land and property, and you got to be aware of one thing here. Foreigners cannot, and I repeat this, cannot own land in this country. There is ways around it, and we have actually done a couple of videos with that in the past, and I'll have a link for that also in the description, or actually if you go to the little information up here in the corner, you will see a couple of videos there where we talk about that a little bit. So I'm not going to go into the legal aspect of owning land or anything. I'm just today talking about how you handle a relation where you kind of feel safe and you send money and then it turns out. One other things that you should be very, very careful for is that you have situations where the woman in question, she might have told you she has a couple of kids, and she also tells you she's single or separated or whatever. Divorce, number one, is non-existent here in Philippines. You cannot get a divorce here. You can get an annulment, but that's a tedious process, costs a lot of money, and you want to try to avoid that. All right, so if she, if you know, a lot of times you don't even suspect that she might be married. You know, she tells you, go with what you say, but there is a way to find out if she is married or not, and that is to ask her for what's called a Cenomar. A Cenomar is issued, and I'm going to read it here for you so you have it. Let's read it. The Cenomar is a certificate of no marriage record, or Cenomar is a certification issued by the National Statistic Office, NSO, stating that a person is single or not married. Also called the Certificate of No Record of Marriage or Certificate of Singleness, that she is really a single. And that will also be, if you plan to marry somebody, that will be a document that actually is going to be required, that she would present a Cenomar for before the wedding, when the official act is taking place. That has to be in place. All right, so how do you get a Cenomar? Well, you can ask her for it. If you're just boyfriend, girlfriend relation, and you're planning on putting a lot of money in her pocket, then you should ask for that to make sure that there is no marriage there. And I believe in one of the instances, in the opener, I think the first one I showed you, it turned out that the girl was actually married. And somehow Raffy Tulfo helped them to sort things out, and they came to some kind of agreement, but he had to go and do a lot of work and legwork to get his money back. And you know, in the second case is 8 million pesos, which is what, divide that by 50, what is it? That's 150,000 dollars at least. It's actually more than that, $170,000. So you know, that's just something. Don't do it. Period. The other thing is, if you are going to do something like that, there is ways that properties can be bought, but in this instance, the property was bought by the girl, put in her name, and you're out of luck at that point. So be careful doing that. The other, you know, the other thing you can look at when it comes to the lady is how is she treating people? Is she courteous? How does she treat her family? How does she treat authorities, authority figures? Look for signs and look for inconsistency in that kind of situation, and just make sure that you don't get taken in that way. When it comes to that type of relation, it's all about knowing her well. And my question to you is, do you know her well? My philosophy is, if you only did online dating, you don't know her at all. It takes more than a 1 week or 2 week or even a 4-week visit to learn to know somebody. So be careful to that aspect, and make sure that the relation is going the way you want it to go. A Filipina that wants to come to America is not necessarily a scammer, because there's a lot of wonderful, beautiful Filipino people. I actually had the opportunity when I lived in Florida to meet many of them, and they're just very pleasant people. The point I'm making is that if she wants to come to America, she should also, if she's serious about the relationship, she also want to maybe stay here in her home country. When it comes to my relation to my wife, matter of fact, I can't even get her to move to the United States or anywhere else. She has agreed to go with me and visit in Sweden, but she's a home girl. She wants to live here, and I prefer to live here too. Several reasons. I like the climate. I love the people here. I mean, my neighborhood here, I know them all, and they're very pleasant, lovely, wonderful neighbors, and I enjoy it a lot. So that said, get to know her, and 1 month, 2 months, 5 months, 6 months, that is up to you, but make sure that you take your time before you start releasing your wallet, because you have, as a foreigner, very, very, very slim chances of getting your money back, and a lot of times, if she is a scammer, she doesn't put the money in the bank for sure. So in most cases, the money are not recoverable. So be careful of that. I do have some comments here, and I'm gonna read them. Excuse me, I'm gonna read from the paper here. One of the comments is, when a man has never been with a young, beautiful lady and comes to the Philippines, he is so easy to be played. These guys would never go to a poor part of their own hometown and give some beautiful young lady a new house or a property. So why doing it in the Philippines? You know, that's what I'm maybe elaborate on here a little bit. Since you can't own land, there is really no reason to do that unless you're already married and have a stable relation. That's the time I would consider doing something like that. And even then, get legal counsel, because there is ways where you can actually own the property, in a sense that you own the buildings, you own everything, but you got to lease the land. So in our case, we have bought some land, and it's going to be leased on a long-term lease, and the houses. And when I'm gone, you know, there's a big age gap between me and my wife. When I'm gone, she can do whatever she wants. At that point, I don't think I care. And yeah, that's one of the other comments here, actually. This should be, okay, let me see here. This should be a basic rule for foreigners in the Philippines. Why pay money for a house or a land that you can never own in the Philippines? That said, like I said, if you do want to do that, then there is other ways, other legal means. Yeah, there's another comment here, and we got the comment from one of our subscribers. It should be a basic rule for foreigners in the Philippines. Why pay money for a house and land that you can never own here? And I got to agree. And like I said, make sure that your relation is stable. I would recommend already being married and still use legal counsel for all your transactions. Unless you have a lot of money and don't really care if you lose a penny here and there, or a dollar here and there, rather. All right, so that's a short little video about this, and the point is, how do you know if she's a scammer or not? And I could only say one thing: get to know her. That's the ABC basics. Get to know her, and get to know her in person. Knowing somebody online is not knowing somebody. You have to spend some time together. You have to really work on a relation, and if you do that, you will have success, and your money will not leave your bank account or your wallet too easily. God bless. Bye-bye. Wait, don't click that button unless, of course, you hit the subscribe button, and then you can move on. And while you're down there, hit the notification button as well. And if you leave a like or a comment, we will personally respond to you on all or any request you might have. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you again